Roll call, Chuck.
Here.
Bob.
Here.
Keith.
Here.
Ron.
Here.
Pam.
Here.
Peg. And
Here.
And absent is Diane McIntyre. Okay.
I got a few correspondence. Oh, I'm sorry, you're going to waive, somebody want to make?
Waive Robert's
Robert's
rules. Second.
Okay. This is from, I'm going to kill this last name, Steve and Lillian Solis. Okay, to the Board of Directors of NYCC, please do not kick the can down the road. We have waited and paid special assessments over the past several years for NYCC restorations. Our Pond 3 needs updating, and not to accomplish this may be putting building foundations at risk and costing the association more. Steve and Lillian Solis. Okay. This is from Pam and Don Denny. Okay. You as our board members need to trim the 2024 budget down to a reasonable figure. You are pricing many people out of their homes with this ridiculous HOA fee. It will definitely result in delinquencies and will make the condos unaffordable for many to stay at Monterey. Once HOA fees go up, they will never go down. No one in their right mind will buy a condo in the middle-class condo complex with a $902 HOA fee. It makes the condos unsellable from a realtor's point of view. We need to start asking the community for ideas and solutions. Here are some of ours. Rent the yacht club out just on Saturday nights. It's nearly impossible to find a venue on Saturday in Stewart. Venues are booked on a year in advance on Saturdays. Have Chuck share some of his beautiful pictures of the yacht club for advertisement. Renting it only on Saturdays would not interfere with NYCC events. A hefty rental fee and cleaning fee will offset the budget. Perhaps hire a property manager from within our staff. Has anyone thought Tom, Wes, Jim might be interested? Send one of them to classes to get them certified. If one of them is interested, each of them has contacts for outsourcing. You could double Wes's salary, make him manager, and have a young man with a career. I don't know if Tom is retiring or if he would be interested in administrating stuff, but has anyone asked him? Go line by line and bring it down to the bare bones on the budget. You can't spend money that you don't have. Certainly Pond 3 should be on hold. Respectfully, Pam and Don and Pam Denny. Okay. This is from Wally Tejan. This goes back to the last board. He wants some answers and stuff. Due to a prior commitment, I'm unable to attend Tuesday's November 14th workshop meeting. I have 3 questions that I would like answered by any director that was not left out of the loop regarding the issues of painting of the walkways. Number 1, why was this project not brought before the board where a committee of volunteers may have been formed to save our community thousands of dollars? Should I read all 3 of these, Chris, and then go down, or? Yeah, I'm going to read all 3 of them. Okay. If no volunteer committee could be formed, why was this project not brought before the board so it could be put out for bids by required rules? I'm kind of reading his rough writing here. When it came to signing of the checks that were given to those who did the project, why was a certified director, Chuck Parks, passed over and a non-board member signed them? I can't answer those. I mean, does anybody that was here can answer those? I mean, I don't know.
So the hiring of people to paint originally was me giving it to our guys because it was just being done a building at a time. Had no thought whatsoever of hiring a company to do all the walkways. It was for our guys to make extra money and do them as the pressure cleaning was completed. Okay, rather than waiting for the entire place to be pressure cleaned and then have a company come and do it. They started the pressure cleaning in June. The last buildings were just finished in the beginning of November. So none of them would have been painted at all. That was where that thought came from, was having our guys doing it as a side job. Board member being passed over. So, I've been through this with the board. We did not get confirmation from the bank until after the checks were signed that day. Okay? I had to reach out to them, and they finally got back to me and said, all of your board members are now check signers. Lorraine Danielle and Jean Ferretti were both left on as check signers on purpose because our bank accounts got hacked, and Truist made us go online finally to be able to get these people approved. So Lorraine Danielle, as a past treasurer who was still a check signer, and still is, because we have problems sometimes in the summer when board members leave, we normally keep on a past treasurer as a check signer. Secondly, it wouldn't have been Chuck that we would have gone to begin with anyway. It would have been the treasurer of the board who would have been asked to sign the checks next. So there's the answer for that.
What's the other question? That it?
I don't know.
That's done.
Volunteer committee could be formed by one of the guys bid out.
Oh, all I said was.
Yeah, that basically covered it.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
I got a statement on that. Chris, was everybody here that could sign the checks?
The only people that were here that could sign checks at that time was Diane and Lorraine. Pam was not here, and Jean was up north. So there was only two people.
Where
that
was-
were, he wasn't approved yet. This is what I keep saying. You say you got approval on whatever.
On the 3rd.
I
On
did
the
not
3rd.
get approval for all the board members until the 8th. Did you get a separate email saying you were approved? Any of you? A separate email? No, that's what
I
I'm
did.
saying.
I did.
did not know who was approved until August 8th, and I emailed Keith at 1:09. I sent you all that email saying that we have finally heard, I had to go to them, that we finally heard that you all are approved. The checks have already been signed for this week, but plan on signing checks next Tuesday as treasurer.
Yeah, I know. I saw the email. You put it out to the bank at 11:14. At 12:04, you got a response saying that we were all available to sign checks.
Yeah.
So if they weren't all here, I shouldn't have been passed over anyways. If everybody was here, I was a board member that could sign a check. So what you're saying is they weren't here to do it, so I don't know why I would have got passed over.
Because the checks were already written and signed. I didn't find out until afternoon. The checks are ready to be signed right now at 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah, well, this is 12:04 when you got confirmation that was, okay.
Okay.
All right, well, I just,
And as I said, if Diane was one of the signers, Keith would have been the next person asked as the treasurer. He would have been the next one. You like wouldn't have come in until he might have said.
well, why
"I'm not-"
wasn't he asked instead of a non-board member then?
He wasn't a check signer yet. I
Ah,
didn't
okay.
find out until 12:04.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay, I just put something, a little something together, and I just want to read this. I was so surprised to see so many of you at last week's workshop meeting, how nice it was always to always have that kind of attendance. It was very refreshing to hear many of our owners voice their opinion. What wasn't was the after effect, okay? It had been brought to my attention that some of the owners who spoke one's mind were chastised by other owners. As a matter of fact, one was belligerent. That kind of action should not be tolerated in this community. One individual who has donated money many times to express the sentiment of giving back to the community is being blackballed. What happened to let's agree to disagree? Instead of trying to intimidate one another, come to the meetings and voice your opinions. I had one owner that spoke out, come to me and said they did not speak up to be malicious or to tear the community apart, but to make people aware that if we are not careful with our money, we could end up right back where we were 20 years ago. And I agree with that. Okay? They went on to say that every person's opinion matters. Right now is the time that we have to be resourceful and continue to count on each other to strengthen this community. People spoke up out of concern for the community. The community of this size will not always agree, but when we agree, mutually respectful and openly listen to each other rather than attack. While we're on the subject, I would like to add on behalf of the board, and hopefully they agree with me, that we apologize to this community for everything that happened. Lessons have been learned, and hopefully this will never happen again. Thank you.
All right, let's go.
Ron, who wrote that? Ron, who wrote
Who wrote that? My wife did. Well, I went through it, but she wrote it.
Your press secretary.
Okay. Last week, we were attacked by one of our owners, this board was, And this is a quote from what he said right off of YouTube. Distinct lack of due diligence on part of our board as far as budget, raising salaries, a new part-time golf employee. Also, if you actually look at the budget that was presented, it's illegal according to the state of Florida. It was hand-delivered to my apartment. It must be sent via mail. And I'm going to let Chris answer that with a statute. I've got it here anyway, but I'll let him read the
So
statute.
statute 718, I believe it's 711112, letter E, but, yeah, do I need that?
Yeah, you better.
Yeah, can't hear you.
Letter E, number 1, budgets. Any meeting at which a proposed annual budget of an association will be considered by the board or unit owners shall be open to all unit owners. At least 14 days prior to such a meeting, the board shall hand deliver to each unit owner, mail to each unit owner at the address last furnished to the association by the unit owner, or electronically transmit to the location furnished by the unit owner for the purpose that the notice such meeting and copy of proposed annual budget. So the statute says right there you can hand deliver it. Google what hand deliver means. Can you leave it in the door if the person isn't there? Google it. It says you most certainly can. That is considered hand delivered. We hand delivered over 230 at 87 cents each. Not a lot, but we saved over $200.
If you're going to attack the board, please be informed, okay? Because we're going to go back and check it. Let's go on. Anybody got any comments?
I got a couple of questions.
Board first.
Yeah, I got a couple things. First of all, and I think Keith will explain the budget thing down the line here soon. One thing you guys have to remember, we're going to go back about 15 years ago when we had $230,000 debt from delinquent owners. Who's going to pay for that? Okay? Chris, I'm wrong, Chris. It was about $230,000 because me, Chris, and the attorney were very instrumental in getting that money back. Okay? We didn't do it alone. We had a lot of help. So remember that in the back of your mind now. So when the budget comes out here, if people are delinquent, we got to pay. So we don't know how it's going to be. Hopefully it's not going to be a lot, but that's got to happen, just to let you know. And the other thing I think we're going to be discussing it, I would believe, I don't know if you want to do it now, about the pond, okay? There's going to be a lot of disgruntled people, yes, no, or whatever, but it's up to the board to make a judgment on the best of their knowledge whether to do the pond this year or not do the pond this year. You're going to satisfy everybody? Of course not. There's going to be a handful, there's going to be people going this way and that way. However, if decisions made by the board, like Ron said, don't attack the board. You shouldn't be attacking any owner. That is disgraceful, to attack an owner. They have a right to their opinion, and their opinion is well respected. But don't go attack somebody. Like somebody came up and gave 3 ideas or something. I'm not going to comment on them, but a couple of them we'll look into. One of them you can't get into. Well, I won't get into that because I don't want to discourage anybody from putting in suggestions. Because there's a couple good suggestions that I think it was whoever it was that did that. That's that one. And the other thing is with I don't know, Chris, I pulled this out. This is an insurance company, Franklin Hamilton Insurance. They can beat every price. I'm not soliciting, believe me. They're golden. They can beat everybody. Right. I'm sure they're going to solicit something like that. All right. Okay, so Ron, do we want to go around later about the pond issue to talk about if we're going to put it on the agenda next week, or you want to wait until?
Let's go for the board.
Okay.
Let's do the board comments, and then, if anybody else out there has got something to say about something.
Okay.
We'll discuss. We'll go right down through the business.
Yeah, I'd like to say something. After last meeting, I was sort of wondering what we could do about a recall vote. If anybody knows what a recall vote is a vote that's put out to the community to remove a board member. The only way you can do it is by a recall vote. So the rumor is, I went and asked the person that ran the voting for the annual meeting, how many people actually voted at the annual meeting. It wasn't about who they voted for, because that's all secret. It was about a number. It was about, did we have 400? Did we have 300? You have to have 256 votes to do a recall vote. I don't think we had that many out of 510 units. We might have 330 of them vote. So I was looking into doing this, and I decided that it wasn't worth doing it because of the cost factor, and you wouldn't get enough votes because the community doesn't vote. So that's what that rumor was about. It wasn't about who voted for who or what did what. It was about a recall vote. Thank you.
Peggy, anything? You're good?
No comment.
Okay.
The only thing I have at this time is a reminder that the insurance gentleman will be here Friday, and so we were hoping everyone will come here to listen.
Friday the 17th at 10:30?
10:30.
10:30 a.m.
And Chris Davis said he will be able to tape it, so if you can't make it, you can go back and look. And a few summers ago, I had given out pamphlets on what our association, meaning Monterey's, covers and what you would be responsible for, and Damien is going to bring some of those as handouts.
Keith, anything?
No, not right now.
Does anybody have anything, any comments out there before we start?
I have a question. If someone
You want
I'm
to
sorry,
go to
grab the, got a mic there?
Come up to the,
Yeah,
come up to the podium.
Come up to the podium.
They can't hear you on YouTube. That's the only reason.
name, rank,
Name,
and
name,
serial number.
name, name, rank, and serial number when you get up there.
Take your time, take your time.
The question is, if someone attacks the board, I personally, and I think the community, deserve to know who that individual is.
Okay. I mean, I don't like to mention people's names. I mean, I think everybody should know who it is. I mean, I don't think.
You should have checked with your wife before you came up there.
Get a subpoena if you want.
Go there, you can step up to the podium there. You can go. I'm used to the microphone being handed around. I forgot we were doing this now.
I just have a recommendation and probably a reminder for the board. First of all,
Lorraine.
my name is Lorraine Daniil, and for those of you that are new, I was a previous board member for 8 years, 6 years as treasurer, and I retired in February. So I want to just remind the board that we had a 3-minute to speak, 1 minute to rebuttal rule that was not enforced, and I'm just recommending, please reinforce it at all future workshop meetings and board of directors meetings. That's all I have to say. And one last thing from me personally, let's respect and love each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine. One thing I wanted to say on that, a board member can supersede that if they want to, so just so you know. I mean, Pat, go ahead, Pat. Name and rank and serial number.
Okay, first, I want to say what a great Veterans Day program that was. Bob, all the helpers, you did a great job, and we have a beautiful monument. Next, I want to apologize to Ron, Bob, and Chuck. You three really weren't involved in this, and yet you come back, your blood pressure is high.
No
But
apology
thank you
needed.
to Kim and Chuck for bringing this paint mess to the surface. There's the rumors, there's the truth, and there's trust. The key players in this paint mess, Chris, Peg, Sid, Wes's son, and Chris, correct? They all got a little bit of the money for painting. Do we know how much each one got? We do. Okay. And then we have 3 people who signed the checks. Now, I remember at one meeting, before the election, I said, I hope people running for the board is for the betterment of Monterey. The circle of trust. This isn't high school. We are all adults, right, Jean? That's what Jean always said. I remember that at all the meetings. We're all adults here. We have the right to talk, question, and we're just trying to get to the bottom of this mess. This should have never happened, and that's the bottom line. Trust is a big factor in all of this. When trust is broken, it opens up a whole can of worms. Let's hope we can move on from this. The parties involved morally do the right thing. Moving forward, I sincerely hope we will have more transparency at Monterey. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Pat.
Oh, one more thing, sorry. Have we heard an apology yet?
Other than the one I just gave them.
Not you.
And Chris. Chris gave an apology.
Okay. Anybody else want to apologize at this time?
Does anybody else out there have anything to say before we start business?
How long after business we have anything to say or not?
You can come, got to come up to the podium, that's all. Rank the serial number.
Hey, we're gonna go over there.
The rank's fairly low. My serial number's not very high.
Questions.
You want to read that?
Are we gonna go over those questions?
My name is Brad Cairns, and I live in Unit 33E. And I would like the members, the people of this community, to try to respect everybody's view, even though we disagree with them vehemently. We don't attack the person, we disagree with the view. I hope that what I have to say, I can do is respectful enough that you won't attack me, you'll disagree with me. And I have no problem with people disagreeing with me. That's never been a problem of mine. I would like to say that in my career and what I've done over my life in the area of managing people and managing large projects and a few $1 million in accounts, I came to the belief that anybody that goes to work, and not anybody, most people going to work want to do a good job. You don't go to work going, I want to do a bad job. We go there wanting to do a good job. People make mistakes, people make bad judgments, and therefore they don't do a good job. But they don't start off wanting to do a bad job. I think everybody that's on this board, who has been on the board in the past, in all honesty, I believe they started out running for the board wanting to do a good job. And I think you go to every meeting wanting to do a good job. Do we make bad decisions? Do we make bad judgments? Yes. But even though we want to do a good job, if we've made bad decisions, there are consequences for that. When you go out on the street and drive in your car, you don't want to cause an accident. But if you didn't see the red light and you go through it and there's an accident that you've caused, there are consequences for making that bad judgment. I think there should be consequences in this situation as well. The severity of them, I'm not going to offer an opinion of exactly what that should be, but I do feel that as a board member, if you feel that you've lost the trust of the people here that you're serving, then you probably shouldn't be on the board anymore, and you should step down and try to ease this wedge and rift that's been caused by all that's gone on here. But that is a personal decision. You have to look within yourself, and you have to decide whether or not that is the correct thing to do for the betterment of this community. At the last meeting, and I'll try to remember a few of these that went on. At the last meeting, there was some people commenting about how we shouldn't have relatives on the board. And I understand that there's no rule broken there. There's no rule whatsoever. But I too agree that I think that's a bad situation. I think it sets us up for things that could happen or not happen, but still be questioned. People could still go, but I think there's an impropriety here. I don't think that's a good position for us to be in. But I also think that's not nearly as bad as the situation we have in our administrative office. I don't think we should have a manager and a spouse working together being managed. I don't think that's right. And I'm disappointed in Chris for even asking to do that. But I'm more disturbed with the board for allowing that to happen. Why would we ever vote to allow that to happen here? It just sets up for a lot of problems. If I have a problem with something with the person at the front desk, because I didn't think I was treated right, things weren't done right, who do I take it to? Who do I take it to without the feeling that, there could be retribution towards me for bringing that up? So we've set ourselves up for a very, very bad situation. I don't think we should have that, and I'm more disappointed with the board for allowing it than for Chris asking for it. I do feel that, as Ron said last week, the board members, all of you should know the rules because you sign a piece of paper saying you do know the rules. If you don't know the rules, don't sign the paper. But if you signed it, you should know the rules. We shouldn't have been in this situation. And as Chuck and different things have been said around here, the board can't discipline a board member. You can't do that. You can do a recall, which only drives a wider wedge in this community. It's not a good thing to have to do. So I think it should be a self-regulated thing. And Ron, and I'll pick on you a little bit. Ron, I know you can take it. I get picked on at home. I know you can take it. We all do. That's why we're good at this.
That's right.
I shouldn't say that. I really don't get picked on at home. I really don't. Ron, you supported Chris and kind of gave him a pass on the part that he played in this and the mistake that he made in saying, yes, this could be done. And by his own words, he admitted he told two people who asked if this could be okay, and he said, yes, it is okay. Well, we do have the right to discipline employees. And when they do something as grievous as this, that causes such a division in this community, a person who has been at this position in managing property for this long should know better than to do this. And I would certainly ask of the board to seriously consider what that discipline should be. I understand Chris is leaving. In my world, if I was managing him out in the corporate world, he probably would have been terminated for causing this. And I think the board should seriously consider that. I realize he's leaving shortly, but I just don't believe in letting things ride because, well, he's going to be gone in a little while. So I would like to see something of that nature take place, or at least let us know that there's been some type of discipline done. And again, I want to commend all the board members for coming here and wanting to do the best job you can. I really believe you do. And Ron last week and Bob, you last week, both challenged people out here who were saying things and complaining about things. Well, if you don't like it, join the board. Well, I'm putting my name in, and I'm going to run next spring.
Thank you.
No, don't need to. We'll give a formal discussion.
If you're gonna, okay. Brad, what unit are you in?
33E.
33E. Okay, he missed that. Okay.
For those of you that listen to my daughter speak, let me explain something to you.
Name, rank, and serial number, please.
Oh, I'm Marilyn Paul from 41A. My daughter managed 250 units across the United States. She was vice president of Camelback Management. She knows the rules. She looked into this for everybody's good. But she was insulted by phone calls. Well, you know what? She got them at my house. So those of you that called her and told her to get off the property, she's ruined Monterey, called her a bitch and a slut. Shame on you. You go to church, what do you go for? We're a 55 and older community. If somebody did this to your daughter, I hope you speak up, because I'm ashamed of all of you that did that to my daughter. Thank you.
Who would do that? Who would do that? We got people in here to do that. Shit.
Hi, my name is Joyce Wasser-Haley. I'm in 24D. I've been here for 22 years, and I've seen the changes that have gone on in Monterey. Many of them have been supported by our boards, and but not so much by the community. When I moved here, they had, the maintenance department did the maintenance. They washed the buildings, power washed the buildings in the summer, they painted the rails, they picked up the garbage and did a great job. They did all the maintenance here. When management changed, all that changed. We had, I don't know if any of you remember, but we had the garbage picked up suddenly by a man driving and two little girls in sailor suits running out, getting the garbage and putting it in the truck. And everybody thought that was great. But it cost us money, additional money. Now we pay for having the buildings washed. Now we pay for having the garbage picked up. Now we pay for having the walks painted, which never should have been done. Why did we paint the walks? They were concrete. They were fine. But it added an additional maintenance. All these things, additional maintenance to our property. Also, we had board meetings. The manager was never at a board meeting. There was a separation of employer-employee, and that has been meshed, or I don't know what you would call it, but there was a separation of that. We didn't have property managers who were managing the people. We had managers that managed the property. The manager went around and he drove every day throughout the community to check on what was being done and if it was being done right. And it really, really saddens me to see what has happened in this community. We did so much good for the community of Stewart, for our community, and I think the blurring of that line has had a lot to do with our increases, and maybe nobody saw it because maybe nobody was here as long as I was. I think Lorraine has been. There are a few that have been here as long as me. I was much thinner. I could have fit through that, through the tables then. But I just felt it was important to speak out and that we need to have that line brought back. Thank you.
I'm going to let Chris reiterate on this, but I've been coming down here since 1980. I've seen managers at the meetings. That's that's in his job description. I'm going to let Chris reiterate on that, but we had many more employees here at the time. Okay, we've lost a lot of employees. If you think it's going to be cheaper, it's not going to be cheaper. We're going to have to hire people to do the stuff that has to be done in this place. But I'll let Chris reiterate.
I have nothing to say.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. So everybody knows. We're going to get on. We're going to get on with business right now. I mean, we got a lot of stuff we have to discuss. So let's go around and we'll start with Keith. Go ahead. You got anything, Keith?
not the only one that gets hammered.
Over the summer, we've been passing around drafts of the resolution for handling delinquent accounts. And the last one that I sent out had all the corrections, and so I'd like to move this forward for a vote. I'll clean up and take out all the deletions from the last one so that the clean copy comes out for the next meeting. This brings our collection policy in compliance with 718 now.
All right. Look, number one, we can't vote on it. We can discuss it, and I know I put a couple things in there that I think you already straightened out, but it definitely should be on the agenda for at the meeting to vote on that, the delinquent things, because we got to get on that right away, because it's going to be, like I said earlier, $230,000. We got down to zero. Hopefully, he's going to do that again, and it's a tough situation for everybody. And I know my neighbors and everybody's saying the budget is high, but you know, we have to pay it as well as everybody else, and we don't like it either. I don't like it, but what can we cut out? What can we not cut out? And see what happens on that. I don't know if anybody else has any discussion on that one. The only thing I changed on this thing, just so everybody knows, is that, in my opinion, the violations of that should be sent certified mail, because,
That's a different one.
oh, that's a different, which one is this one? We got
This one's the liens.
the liens, okay, that's a different one. All right. Thank you. Which one is that? Let's see.
You want to say something?
No, I was just in agreement that we
Okay,
need to move it
okay,
forward and put
yes.
it on the agenda.
Okay.
So we're ready
That
for
sounds
next
good.
meeting.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll look it over.
I got,
Go ahead,
The
Bob.
second one
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, let Keith finish.
was
Yeah.
the one Bob was just referencing, is a resolution.
Okay. Oh.
It was in regards to the fines and rule violations. And we're really down to two questions on that. One is whether we send it first-class mail or certified mail. That's part of step 2. And then the other part of this was to give the property manager the authority to do routine fines as opposed to requiring the full board to vote on routine fines.
So this has to do with the hearing committee?
The hearing committee,
Okay.
correct.
And I hope everybody read, that's the one I made the recommendation, we could do a certified letter on
Yeah.
that, so, because somebody says, nobody would do that, they take it forward, and say, yeah, I did get it, I'm sorry, but some people don't, said, I never got it, and which happens. So this way they have to sign for it.
Anybody
before
else
they
on
do.
the board have comments on that? No?
No, I
Good.
think you go.
So do we want to go with certified versus first class?
I would say certified. I think
Yes.
certified is the
We
way to
can,
go.
we can bring that up, and then we can vote on it at the next meeting to
Yeah.
get it through.
You just got to change it in it.
Barbie? Oh, I'm sorry.
The other part is, do we want to give the property manager the authority to issue routine fines versus having all fines be approved by the board?
That's a tough
How does everybody feel about that?
Yeah, I think it should be up to the board in
Up
there
to the
somewhere,
board, yeah.
because like I say, somebody said, and I
leave it
think
up
you heard
to the
that there,
board.
is that the property manager might have a vendetta, not here, but
I think
to
it'll
get
go to
somebody,
the-
might want to find
I think it'll go to
them.
the hearing committee first anyway, and then they'll recommend whatever the fine should be, and then it should probably be put to the board.
Actually, the board sets the fine,
Okay.
and you have to give the person that's getting fined a certain amount of time to respond if they would like to meet with the fining committee, and then the fining committee decides whether the fine stands or not.
Okay.
So what do we want to, what are you going to propose at the next meeting, that the board of directors has approved the fine, or?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's already like that, isn't it?
yeah. The way Chris has explained it, yeah.
To approve the violation.
Okay, I'll make those changes and then bring that forward.
Okay, thank you.
Keith, if you can just make a copy for all the board members, so we can look at it, so we have it in front of us. Not saying you're not going to do it, but great, thanks. See, we got a lot of paperwork here, huh? Bear with us. We try to do the right thing. Anything else, Kid?
No, that's
You
it.
good?
Okay, I have two things that I think we should put on the agenda. One of them is the sale of the sound equipment, okay? Somebody wrote here, let's see. I would like the board of directors to make the final decision to sell the sound equipment that was purchased by Mora, is not going to be utilized by the association. And basically, we have hot wire, and that would negate the equipment. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I'd like to put that on the agenda. So we vote on it, keep it, sell it, or whatever. And the other one, the last one. Oh. Pardon?
No, I just want it brought forward.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
prior meetings from last year, we gave
Right.
an owner an opportunity to present a presentation at the board meeting, and that never occurred. So now we just need to finalize a decision on
Right.
what's going to happen
It's
with
pretty
the
much a moot
equipment.
point, whether to keep it or not, right?
Yeah.
It's not being used, is it?
No.
At all?
Hasn't been used for several years.
Okay.
It's sitting in a room.
Yeah.
Collecting dust.
And the only other thing that caused a lot of controversy now is I'd like to see the discussion on Pond 3. Yeah, on that. To put it from my personal opinion is that, and everybody can say what they want to say, it's my own personal opinion, I feel that it's, the way the budget is and so forth now, if it's not an imminent dangerous situation, whether it is or not, I don't know. But if it's not an imminent violation, an intimate problem, we should table it until next year. That's my opinion on that. If it's needs be, we gotta bite the bullet, but I don't know if it's imminent danger or not. We can,
Attack it on a year-to-year basis.
that's my.
Just so everybody knows, I mean, we're looking somewhere and this is just guesstimates, somewhere between $525,000 and $700,000 to do this pond. Okay, if we're at the $700,000 mark, the A, E, F, and J units are going to pay $1,500 in special assessment. The B, D, G, and I units will be $1,337, and the C and H units will be $1,169. If we go to 600,000, we're still looking, I'm just going to round these off, 1,300, 1,200, and 1,000, okay, for those units. Depending on where it falls, we don't know until we get an estimate on the thing. So we're looking somewhere between $1,000 and $1,200 average between all these units. Just so everybody knows, that's what the special assessment's going to be if you get hit with this thing right now. I don't think it's fair right now with the maintenance going up, the way it's going up. Does it need to be done? Sure, it does. At some point, it's got to be done. I don't think it's a danger at this point. I think we can wait a year or two, but that's the way I feel too, so. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment on it. I think with the, doing the pond at this time with a special assessment, that much money, we have no idea right now because of the community with people falling behind on their maintenance and doing stuff like that because of the stuff. That's going to come to us for a special assessment too. That's got to be paid by somebody. If they don't pay it, then the community pays it. Is that correct, Ron?
Well, yeah, I mean, eventually they'll end up paying the thing, but yeah, the community's got to make up the difference.
Yeah, so we don't have any idea what's going to happen for that when that occurs. So I mean, you're going to be looking at maybe, I don't know, is it $1,500 to $2,000 if that happens. So I think we ought to go ahead and put a motion on the board to vote to table it for at least 1 year.
I mean, we've moved way along on this thing. I mean, these ponds, when I got on the board 8 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, or whatever it was, these ponds weren't even being thought about. I take that back. They were being thought about by previous boards for years. They got engineering reports. Nobody ever did anything. We've got almost every one of these ponds done except for that one right now. You know, I mean, you know, we got to give these people a break. I mean, all the owners in here, a little bit of a break anyway, and try to kick the can down the road a little bit. Could have cost us more, maybe, but you want to know something that could go down to. You don't know what's going to happen with material.
Are we allowed to comment in this?
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
On a project of that size, it seems to me, and I've looked at that pond a little bit, maybe the pond could be done in sections, or maybe we could do a small assessment and save that money 1 year. The next year, make another small assessment and save that money. So it takes 2 or 3 years to build up that money, so it's not one great, big, huge hit on us. We know it's going to have to be done. But let's try to find some creative ways to ease the pain of having to pay for it. I mean, none of us, I should say, not many of us go out and buy a great big expensive home or a new car and just put down cash. We either save for it for a while or we borrow money to do it. I don't advocate borrowing money, but we save money to do some of the things we want to do. I think as a community we should do the same thing.
Thank you.
Brad, that has been discussed. That has been discussed among the board members.
Wonderful, I'm glad to hear that.
Anybody else on the board got comments on it? Or
No, I definitely think this needs to go on the agenda.
go right on the agenda, Chris?
Yes. Okay, I got 2 things and that's it.
Anybody, Chuck, you got anything else? Or you good?
Peg has something.
Go ahead, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I do have a question, thing. I think we need to go ahead and really look at a full audit and get that thing scheduled, because when I was looking up on the thing, there are not too many people that do it, and it takes, a full audit takes a little time to get it done. So I think we ought to be looking at scheduling a full audit of this place before Chris leaves and a new property manager comes in.
So the review is already scheduled for like January 10th. All you gotta do is tell Cars, Ingram, and whatever their company name is that you want
Let
to
them know you
know.
want to do a full audit. Okay.
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 Is it a review or a full audit?
The association voted to do a review, but that doesn't mean you have to. You can always upgrade it.
Okay.
You can't downgrade it.
Okay.
So if you guys wanted to do an audit, all we have to do is tell them we changed our mind, we don't want to do a review, we would like to do an audit.
Okay.
January, what was it, Chris?
Around January 10th, I think
10th, okay.
it was coming.
Chris, what is the cost difference between the review and the audit?
About $3,500.
Difference?
Yeah.
So we're going to put that on the agenda?
Yeah, yep.
I would think, in my opinion, I would think that if I was putting in for a new job and taking over a multi-million-dollar operation or something, I'd want an audit if it was me, coming into a new thing.
How long has it been since we, how long has it been since we've asked those review?
We had a review. The full audit was 2 years ago, I believe.
Was it?
Yeah.
I wasn't on board.
Perhaps 3.
Go ahead, Beck, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I do have one. And this is to put in a process in place for requests for inspection and copying of the association records. Any owner can request any of the records of the association by state statute, and we have a number of days that we have to respond to those. Some of our records are older. It takes a while to get them. And we are allowed to put a process in place as to how to get them. So this is just establishing that process. I'm asking for it to be put on the agenda to move it forward to the Rules and Regulation Committee to review this and add it as an addendum.
Okay.
Any questions?
No? Anybody got a question yet? No? Anything else?
That was it for me.
Okay.
Thanks.
I got a minor thing since we're talking about the rules and regulations. This seems pretty fishy to me. But we made a rule we voted on it, I think in April, about the fishing on the dock over there at the marina, that we don't want people fishing on the dock that has their rails. Well, I have 4 or 5 people come to me after that was voted on, and they said it's a safety factor because a lot of them have their grandkids here, and fishing on the one with no rails, they could fall off. So if they're allowed to fish over there, it's a safety for the grandkids, their grandkids and stuff. So I would like to see that rule rescinded.
Okay. One of the problems we have over there, you got people cutting fish on top of the flat board there, you know, I mean,
Well, I mean-
that needs to be, you know, we don't want to make sure people aren't cutting fish up out there. I
Or
don't
then
have
you
a
need to
problem with
post
anybody
a
fishing.
sign or something, or do something, but it is a safety for, a lot of people, I see them over there all the time, I go over there a lot, and they're fishing with their grandkids, it's unsafe on the other one,
Okay.
so.
Okay, Chuck, so since I'm on the Rules and Regulations
that.
Committee, you're saying that the fishing on the
dock
rail
and the
dock
rail.
is
The main
okay?
dock, yeah.
No, not
No,
okay.
not okay.
You should fish on that, you should be
You
able to
should be able to
fish
fish on it.
Fish
What
on
do you
that,
say?
but not fishing on the open dock
No,
one, right?
you can fish on either one, but I'm just saying, you're restricting it to the open one with people have little kids over there with fishing poles and, you know, stuff like that. If they can fish on the one that has the rails, they'll be safe and they won't fall in.
Okay, I think the way, okay, excuse me a minute. I think, and I didn't bring it with me, but I think it does say now you can't fish on the railing one, right?
That's what it says.
Okay,
yes.
just get that thing. I think the reason why the Rules and Regulation Committee decided that was like, just Ron just said, cleaning fish there and that. But we can look into it and, like you say, put a sign up there, no cleaning fish, and they can still fish off it, right?
Well, they shouldn't be cleaning fish over there
No,
anyways, but without a fish
Yeah, I know they
cleaning
shouldn't
station.
clean fish. We'll take a look, I know the Rules and Regulation Committee, we'll get together and look at that.
Okay. Thank you.
Pam, anything?
I have nothing.
Okay, I'm good.
Two things. So, you guys voted unanimously to do the VFD system, and that's for the deep well, and we have finally gotten some actual prices. The total cost is coming in right around 50,000. We have 25,000 that is still saved up from a special assessment. All I want to know is, are we still doing it?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Put
It's
that
been
on
going
the
on 3
agenda,
years.
right?
We'll have to do a small special assessment for that, for $25,000 or $26,000. It's probably about a $50 bill per unit average.
Yeah, we might have money left there.
It's got to be done. We've been doing this for 3 years.
And last thing is the painting of the wall on Canner Highway. We did the Palm City wall last year. I only got one price from the company that actually did it last year and has done all of our painting. It's from Seal Tech. You guys have seen them many times. $13,750. The money is in the reserves. You want me to get 2 other prices? As I said, this is a company that we've used, and they did that wall last time. It's pressure cleaning, repairing it, sealing, and painting.
I think we have to have 3 bids, Chris, on that.
That's
And
fine.
put on the agenda if you don't get 3 bids by the next meeting.
Unless, of course, do we have any volunteers that would like to paint the wall?
Oh, I don't know, ask.
I don't think that's a good idea with a wall, that's for sure. No, I know that. I know you are.
Well, Chip Gleason.
No,
I'm being
I
sarcastic.
just wanted to make sure.
No.
Hey,
Let's
Chip
get-
Gleason.
I was being
Yeah, I
sarcastic
know.
also.
Yeah, that's a little late.
Well, I think if you laugh about that, it's not sarcastic, it's because, what do you call it, a few years back, there was volunteers that did paint that wall.
That's correct, Chip Gleason.
Chip
got the-
Gleason, I think Chick Serini, and I don't know who else here might have been painting the wall, but they painted that wall. Okay, now, if they're, like Chris said, if anybody's willing to paint that wall, come forward. It can be done. They've done it before. And it came out very well. But if anybody wants to do it, bring it up, right? Beat 13,500, right? They'll pay,
So we'll get 3 bids then?
Yep.
Okay.
if you can. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll get it, yeah.
You got something else, Chris?
And then,
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Anybody else out there have anything to say? Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to know, what kind of price could we get if the maintenance people do it?
Our maintenance people?
Yeah.
When are they supposed to do that? Seriously. They are stretched so thin trying to keep up with just the work orders and the normal work here. Seriously, when are they supposed to have the time to paint that wall? We're working on 3 less employees than when I started here 18 years ago, and the place is 18 years older. And you have 3 less employees trying to do all the same work.
No, I thought as an extra for them, on weekends or whatever.
You mean the way that we did the walkways and are getting chastised for doing it and having our guys do it as a side job?
No,
No.
that's not quite what you're getting chastised for, Chris.
They're employees, that's why.
No.
I'm not answering the question.
Go ahead.
This guy's, he's running for board.
You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. Good luck.
As I said, I'm in Unit 33E. We have been scheduled to get a new door. We have termites in it, we have cracks in it, and we have been approved probably 4 or 5 months ago to have that door replaced. The only individual I'm aware of that is doing that for us at this time is a fellow by the name of Dan. I've had some interesting conversations with him on the phone. I really would rather not have him do my door. He's got a horrible attitude. I don't know what his work looks like, but it's a horrible attitude. He wants to come and just put the door in whether I'm home or not. And I said, that's not happening. I'm going to be there when you do it. I'm taking off the inside door. I've got a brand new floor in my unit. I want to make sure it's not cracked. I'm going to cut the grout away so that he can pull the door out without causing any damage. So we've talked to him a couple different times, and he wants to come on a day, and I said, I'm working that day. We can't do it. So 2 weeks ago, I called him, and I said, I have the 14th and 15th off. Can you schedule it for the 14th? Oh, I don't schedule anything out that far. I don't know what I'm doing by then. So I said, well, can you tentatively put it on your schedule, and can you call me a few days before that, or I can call you before that, and we'll see if you're going to be able to do it. Well, he never called me, so I called him yesterday. Oh, he said, I forgot all about that. He said, I got a doctor's appointment today, that was yesterday, and I think I got some emergency stuff to do tomorrow. You know, they keep me busy on all kinds of emergency things. I really can't plan these things like this. Well, like I said, with an attitude like that, I don't want him at my house. I'd like us to have somebody else. I think it's a poor situation that we have only one individual to do our doors. We should have 2 or 3 that can do this, and I think it's necessary that the management here look and find other people that can do this work for us, because I need my door done. My termites are continuing to eat holes in my door, and I need it changed, but I'm going to be there when it's done.
Chris, do we still have Earl doing that?
No, Earl hasn't done doors for us in months.
Okay.
Months.
Who's doing it?
Just Daniel.
Just Daniel? We can hire other people, not a problem. It's going to cost everybody more money, simple as that.
Somebody's over there, Ron.
Go ahead, Judy.
Hi there, Judy Roberts, 17G. Quick, simple question. I noticed that the monthly manager meetings have been canceled.
Yep.
Is that something that, the reason?
Not in his work, in his job description. Doesn't have to do it.
Right now, it's only canceled for November.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I saw it said indefinitely.
It might, but it was only for the month of November.
Okay. I just find them helpful, and people can just ask simple questions that maybe they don't want to bring up at board meetings. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
One of the things I wanted to say is people seem to think that we do not need a manager in here, that they can run this place. Please step up, because I'm going to tell you something. When Chris leaves, I'm getting off the board, and I'm not helping. I'm done, okay? I'm not going to listen to this anymore. People think that this job in that office is simple. It's not. I've been in the office when people have gone in there and screamed and swore. I've been sworn at myself on phone calls, okay? People think it's easy. Please step up, join the board, run for the board, or go in and run the office. I don't have anything else to say. Does anybody else on the board got anything to say?
I say the same thing. I've been on the board 12 years. I've worked with this gentleman for 15, 16 years. And somebody to come up here and try to chastise this gentleman, does he make mistakes? Yes. I think he's very upset right now, and I don't blame him. You don't come here and try to chastise a manager. You want to get rid of him, this and that. God bless you. I'm gone too, so good bless.
Step up and run the office, please, because you're not going to have anybody in there.
Disgusting.
Done?
Yeah, I'm done.
I make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
I seconded.